Talk about Naomi Campbell. Talk about Naomi Campbell. There's Naomi, your mentor. Relax. I'm here to tell you today what happened. So, in December of 2020, Naomi was coming to Nairobi to do some shopping. She was on holiday, but on a remote place. So she was in Nairobi doing shopping. And I texted her and she told me she's in Nairobi. So I was so excited to meet her. She was the first celebrity I was ever going to meet. Guys, I was through the roof. She texted me, she was like, hey, I'm here. She texted me the location. I went directly. I went to my brother. So my brother and I, we met her, we did some shopping. And as we're shopping, she's like, oh, the plane that's taking us back actually has a couple more seats. Do you and your brother want to join us on holiday? Hell yes. So I was like, oh, that would be so lovely. But I texted my dad, I said, hey, get the car ready. I'm coming to the house. We are going to the airport in an hour to meet Naomi Campbell so she can take me on vacation. So we go on vacation. We had like a very nice vacation. Naomi took care of me the whole entire time. We were staying on the beach, we were doing this, and then like this, that, eating, just having fun, what people do on vacation. And this one time we were on the beach, Naomi was like, oh, we should do a documentary, a film about you live in Kenya. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fantastic. She introduced me to a couple of people in Hollywood. It was so lovely. So a couple of people she was on vacation with were coming to Nairobi after the vacation. They were staying at the Kempinski. So I went to see them at the Kempinski when the whole thing was over. So I sat down with them. I was talking to one of them, and one of them was like, oh, it's so, like, how did you meet Naomi? And I was like, oh no, I texted her on Instagram, blah, blah. And she was like, oh yeah, she told us like she made you and she built you and she made your career. And I was like, what? No, that's not what happened. And I was like, you mean like helped me and like promoted me? And she was like, no, like what you have is because of her. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. It is very important you remember that part for later. Okay, so time goes by. March 2022. We have jumped into March 2022. I get a phone call. My phone is ringing. Naomi Campbell. Oh, so I pick up, I'm like, hey sis, like how are you doing? And she's like, Elsa, how dare you? Oh, so I'm in shock, right? I don't know what's going on. So let me tell you what happened, the context of this phone call. So I had just finished the previous year, I had done a documentary on my life, about bullying, about growing up with colorism, all these things, about comedy, where I fell in love with comedy. So the film was debuting at Tribeca Film Festival, and someone from Tribeca asked Naomi if she was coming, and Naomi thought the film was the film she had suggested to me on the beach about me leaving Kenya. So I was like, no, that's not what it's about. I tried explaining to her, and then she was like, I'll sue you for the rights of this movie, and I'll win, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm like, this is crazy. I'm telling you, it's not about that. So I tell her, let me call you tomorrow. And she asked me, like, why didn't you tell me when I told you at the beach? And I was like, you're Naomi Campbell. Like, I was starstruck. Like, it took me very long to, like, process that moment. And I was like, I'll call you tomorrow. So the next day I had a flight. The flight I was taking from Botswana to Ghana, where I met that guy, actually. That's the time I was taking that flight. So I was supposed to call her the next day, but it was a 22-hour flight, and in Ethiopia there was no service, so I couldn't call her. So I called her the day after. Immediately I landed in Ghana. So she's the first person I called. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, like, are you free to talk? And she tells me, you were supposed to call me tomorrow. You were supposed to call me yesterday. You didn't call me yesterday, which she was very right about. And she said, I have the Met Gala. And she was like, this is the last time I'm speaking to you. Have a nice life. And she hung up, which I was very saddened by the situation, right? But I was like, if that's how she truly feels, because I respect people's space. So I was like, if that's how she truly feels, fine, it's okay. So I let it go. So after that, like a few months, things started going very badly for me. Things started going haywire. And I didn't think it was, I thought it was because of the situation, let me not lie. But I was like, you know, also it can be stress. I was like, let me go, because also having someone like Naomi Campbell not liking you in the industry is not a good thing. So I went to her, I apologized. I'd already apologized when the situation had happened, but I went and I apologized again and again. I started calling her, I started texting her, and then one day she just texted me and she was like, stop calling me. I have a child to take care of. So after that, I just said, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I started drinking. That's why I even quit alcohol. I started drinking. I started drinking a lot. Yeah. And then, because I wasn't sure why things were going so wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then a few months later, I met Edward Enifel at a party, and Edward Enifel is oh my goodness, he's one of the people I adore the most. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's Edward, I have to go say hi. So I'm like, hey Edward, I'm such a big fan. And he looks at me, he's like, I know you. And then he said something that made me think the situation with Naomi was causing like some of the trials and tribulations I was currently going through. So I was like, you know what, I need to fix this. So I went to one of our mutual friends and I was like, hey, please, can you tell Naomi, because I knew they were going on holiday together. So I was like, hey, can you please tell Naomi to text me? And she was like, yeah, I'll make sure, and blah, blah. So a couple of days went by, and then Naomi finally texted me and she was like, yeah, I let that go a long time ago. I'm not one to hold a grudge. She sent me a very lovely text. She said, Happy New Year. So after that happened, this was the new year 2023. So after that happened, every single step I made, every single move I made, I told Naomi. Every single thing I did, I told Naomi. I would breathe. I tell Naomi, whether she would reply or not, I would send her a message because I didn't want what happened to happen again. And after some time, after a few weeks, I called my mom and I was like, this isn't normal. This doesn't feel healthy. It kind of feels, you know, it doesn't feel too nice. There's nothing healthy or normal about this. And I was like, I don't want to be in a situation like this. So after that, I just decided it is healthier for me to completely remove myself from the situation and get myself out. And you remember earlier when I said my friends said, the ones Naomi had introduced me to, when they said, oh, Naomi had made you. You remember when I said that? So I just want to acknowledge that and say that even through all this, right, even through everything that happened, first of all, number one, obviously I played a part in it because I am part of the story. In any situation you are in, you play a part, you play a role, and I had my role and I apologize for my role. And something else, when she said she made me, I'm not going to speak on that, but I will say that Naomi did give me a lot of credibility, especially when I first entered the industry. She gave me a lot of credibility, and that's not something that I can just say, oh, you know, this happened and Naomi, blah, blah, blah. I can't say that. She did hold me up high, and she introduced me to a lot of people. She made me feel special. She did a lot of things for me. So I wouldn't say she made me, but she did play a big role in a lot of the things that I did in that space during that time. So yeah, me and her, we're not friends, we're not enemies, we're not anything, just not really in association. So we're just strangers.